When you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some over greater desire.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to.
Y'all, Terrence Howard had some major tea to spill on Diddy, and he did not disappoint. Terrence has been vocal in the past couple of years about how he was pretty much forced to leave the industry. According to him, he wasn't willing to play along with some of the shady activities, and some powerful people did not take it well. And with his new revelations about Diddy, it looks like we might finally know who those powerful people are. But get this, it didn't stop at Diddy, because according to him, Diddy's sons were allegedly in on it too. Y'all know how the streets have been saying that Diddy's sons aren't exactly innocent in all this? Well, Terrence just brought all the tea on that, and he didn't hold back because he came with all the energy. So what exactly were the Combs boys doing at the Freakoffs? And did they also allegedly prey on victims at Freakoffs? Let's break this down. I'm not gonna lie, the timing of Terrence's claims couldn't possibly be worse for Diddy. His legal case with the feds is going to trial in just a couple of weeks, and jury selection is starting anytime from now. Y'all know that the feds have a conviction rate of more than 90%, so y'all know that Diddy has his work cut out for him. And with Terrence's fresh claims, well, let's just say that this is probably not going to help Diddy's case. So what exactly did Terrence say about Diddy? Well, he recently went on a podcast where he talked about Diddy, and it seems like he had the same negative experience that a lot of people have claimed to have had with Diddy, with him allegedly tricking them and trying to get them in a compromising situation. According to Terrence, Diddy invited him over, claiming to need some acting lessons. However, when he got there, Diddy allegedly started putting moves on him, and Terrence was not about that life, and he shut that down quick.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music, and he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to put them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're gonna get a real reaction back.
Chilly at this point. Is anyone safe from Diddy's shenanigans? Because it sure doesn't seem like it. The interesting thing is that this is not Terrence's first time talking about this sort of behavior in Hollywood. He even claimed in the past that he was pretty much forced out of the industry because he wasn't willing to give in. A couple of years ago, Terrence revealed what he claims is the real reason he stepped away from Hollywood and retired from acting. According to him, it wasn't due to burnout or lack of opportunity, but because he felt the industry was trying to emasculate him. When he refused to conform, he says the narrative shifted, and that's when people started labeling him as difficult to work with. It's a pattern we've seen play out time and time again in the entertainment world, especially when someone challenges the system. Now, to be fair, no one's claiming Terrence Howard is a saint. He's been involved in several controversies over the years, and at one point, it really did seem like the headlines about his personal life were starting to overshadow his entire career. He just couldn't seem to stay out of trouble. In 2010, he was accused of putting paws on his first wife, an incident that sparked public outrage and added to the growing list of concerns about his behavior. But unfortunately, that wasn't an isolated case. In 2011, his second wife, Michelle Gent, filed for a restraining order against him, alleging DV. The court granted the order, and the situation raised even more questions about Terrence's pattern of behavior in his personal relationships. He hasn't denied these allegations and has spoken about them freely in interviews, like the time he admitted to slapping his second wife in front of their kids. He said, "She was talking to me real strong, and I lost my mind and s***ed her in front of the kids." What's especially troubling is that, despite the serious allegations against Terrence Howard, they had little to no impact on his career. He continued to land acting roles without much trouble. In fact, even after publicly acknowledging some of the accusations, he still secured high-profile projects, most notably the lead role of Lucius Lyon in Empire, which became one of the biggest shows on television at the time. So when he suddenly announced his retirement from acting in December 2022, it raised a lot of eyebrows. The timing didn't make much sense, especially considering he was still being cast in major roles and had a strong fan base. There didn't seem to be any public scandal or professional fallout that would explain such a drastic decision. But according to Terrence, there was a hidden reason behind his exit. He claimed that the industry was putting him in uncomfortable positions that he believed were designed to emasculate him. And when he refused to go along with it, he claimed that the response from Hollywood was swift, leading him to step away entirely. Since coming out of retirement, Terrence Howard hasn't held back when it comes to exposing what he sees as the darker side of the entertainment industry. One of the main issues he continues to speak out about is the pressure he says he faced to wear dresses on screen, something he firmly refused to do. According to him, these scenes had no relevance to the storyline and served no purpose other than to humiliate or emasculate him. And this isn't a new accusation. Over the years, several black male actors have come forward with similar claims, saying they were pressured by producers to wear dresses in films or skits where it made no sense whatsoever. Comedian Dave Chappelle, for instance, has been vocal about this issue for years. He's repeatedly warned that Hollywood has a pattern of trying to feminize black men by pushing them into roles that involve wearing dresses or behaving in exaggeratedly feminine ways. Chappelle has even admitted that his refusal to comply created serious tension with industry heavyweights and led to some major behind-the-scenes conflicts. Dave Chappelle's refusal to go along with those expectations actually led to a very public fallout with Comedy Central. The situation got so tense that he nearly walked away from the industry entirely. And for a while, he actually did. Later, during an interview on The Oprah Winfrey Show, Chappelle opened up about what really happened behind the scenes. He revealed that he turned down a massive $50 million deal and left the country, relocating to Africa for a time. One of the key reasons, he claimed, was the pressure he felt to wear a dress for a sketch. Pressure, he said, came directly from Martin Lawrence. Chappelle made it clear that it wasn't just about one scene or one request. For him, it was part of a larger issue that he felt targeted black men in entertainment and pushed them into roles that stripped away their dignity under the guise of comedy.
Like when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin. Yeah. The movie's going good. So I walk in a trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. It's the writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, you got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a and he put this dress on and, what? This prostitute? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that.
But Dave Chappelle wasn't the only one to speak out about this. Kevin Hart also hinted that this kind of pressure is pretty common in Hollywood. While he never outright said he'd refuse to wear a dress, he did suggest that he had faced similar expectations from the industry. In past interviews, Kevin hinted at being pushed toward roles that involved wearing dresses. And although he handled it with his usual humor, the message was clear. This isn't just a one-off experience for a few actors. It's something that multiple black men in the industry have had to navigate, whether they speak on it publicly or not.
Dave Chappelle, another great comedian, said that, you know, in the industry, they tried to make him wear a dress. Have you ever ran into that with scripts, and is that something that, you know, you wouldn't do, you know, for
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. You know, for me, I know what they are. They've yet to been challenged, so, you know, I don't have to speak on them. I was asked to dribble a basketball on the talk show this morning. I said no to that. Not that was a dress, but I was like, no, I'm gonna look stupid. At the end of the day, you gotta know that you're a brand. I'm a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times. When things happen that can possibly affect your brand, your brand can be diminished, and you don't want that to happen. So, you know, protecting my brand is definitely a priority.
And let's not forget when Cat Williams dropped some serious knowledge during his appearance on Club Shay Shay. He pulled back the curtain on this whole emasculating issue and revealed that it's actually way more common in Hollywood than most people realize. According to Cat, the pressure to wear dresses and act in ways that undermine masculinity often comes with a very tempting offer. He went on to say that he has actually turned down fat paychecks more than once because of this exact issue.
Just to protect my integrity and that I was telling you about, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
Because early on you was accusing me.
He also claimed that even though he was man enough to turn down the gigs, a lot of other actors weren't, and he name-dropped a few. It was at this point that Terrence finally opened up about the real reason he chose to retire in the prime of his career. Terrence backed up Cat Williams' claims, confirming that there is, indeed, an agenda to emasculate black men in Hollywood. For those who might not remember, Terrence had a major role in the first Iron Man movie as James Rhodey Rhodes, and he was expected to return for the sequel. But when Iron Man 2 hit theaters, fans were shocked to see Don Cheadle in the role instead of Terrence. At the time, rumors circulated that Terrence was fired because of his temper and reputation as being difficult to work with. However, after Cat Williams' interview, Terrence set the record straight, slamming those rumors and stating that the real reason he was replaced was that he stood his ground. He refused to go along with the industry's demands to be emasculated, and that, he says, led to his firing. He also went on to claim that Justin was allegedly involved in Diddy's substance trade. The court document said, as evidenced by the hundreds of hours of video and audio recordings in plaintiff's possession, defendants Sean Combs, Justin Combs, Christina Coram, his assistants and staff all orchestrated, participated, managed, and executed the RICO enterprise by purchasing and distributing substakinis, by purchase and distributing firearms, by requiring the solicitation of encounters with prostitutes, and minors, and by forcing artists, creatives, musicians, and producers to utilize their talents and labor to produce music and other tangible goods and services without compensation. The RICO enterprise has functioned as a continuing unit and maintains an ascertainable structure separate and distinct from the pattern of racketeering activity. So it looks like Justin might be in deeper with Diddy than we know. Over the years, there have been some speculations that he has allegedly helped Diddy cover up for some pretty shady activities. For example, do y'all remember when Justin got slapped with a DUI and he got dragged for filth over it? Everyone thought that he was just another irresponsible rich kid, but there are now reports that Diddy was the one who was involved in the DUI, but he had Justin take the fall for him. If you're wondering how that even happened, well, let me remind you about those rumors of Diddy having the police in his pocket, and all of a sudden, the math starts mathing. According to Lil Rod, things got heated in the studio one day, and either Diddy or his son, Justin, allegedly fired shots during an argument. Rod claimed a guy named G ended up taking a bullet to the stomach. He even included pictures of the aftermath in the court documents, just to drive the point home. So allegedly, not only was Justin helping his father get young girls for his parties, but he also allegedly helped Diddy cover up other crimes as well. Like they say, the apple does not fall far from the tree. And speaking of apples, Terrence also claimed that Christian was allegedly in it as well. And again, we are not shocked. Christian has been accused of objectifying his girlfriend by the pictures he posts of her online, and it's hard not to see. Let's not forget that he also has an open essay case against him. He was sued by a woman named Grace O'Marquet, who came forward with allegations that she had been SA'd by Christian while working on a luxury yacht that Diddy had rented for a family holiday getaway. According to reports, King cornered her again and attempted to force her to perform oral on him, but she says she fought him off and includes in the docs photos of her forearm, which she claims was bruised in the altercation. Eventually, O'Marquet says she was able to escape, but claims to have suffered mentally and emotionally ever since. So, yeah, I guess we shouldn't be shocked that Terrence named Diddy's sons, but what's more interesting is why it was allegedly cut out of the interview. But I want to know how y'all feel about Diddy's sons being dragged into this. Drop your thoughts in the comments, then check out this next video.